In this video, we're going to talk about how to replace the competition when you're making cold calls. Now, a very likely objection when you cold call a prospect is that they respond that they're already using someone or that they've already purchased your competitor's product. Now, not only is this a very frequent situation, it's a fairly difficult objection to respond to. And in this video, I'm going to provide a process and a strategy that will make it crystal clear for how you can respond to this. And the simple answer is to focus on your differentiation. Your differentiation is how you differ from the competition. Focus on how you're better. Now, while that's easy to say right now, it's actually difficult because cold calls are extremely fast and extremely short. And you can't just sit there on a cold call and as soon as you find out that the prospect is using someone, say something like, but we're different and we do this, or we're different and that we have this. Just saying how you're different is not going to be enough. You have to be a little bit more suave and sophisticated, and the process that I show you here today will make it crystal clear how to do that. Now, if you've watched any of our other videos, we have a structured process for how to create your cold call script. We want you to start by outlining the product that you sell and then think about, okay, who are we cold calling? And then think about, okay, well, when I sell my product to that particular buyer, what kind of improvements can I help to deliver? And then once you think about that, then we teach you to reverse engineer those benefits to create pain points that you can talk about and make go away. And once you create a list of pain points, we suggest that you use those pain points to create pain questions that help you to identify if the prospect needs what you sell. And then we take you to one last step, which is to create a customer example that explains a customer that had a problem that you helped to solve with your product. Now, I'm biased, but this process, I believe, will help you to create a great cold call script, a great sales script. But the script that you can create through this process might not work for replacing the competition. And to demonstrate this, I'm going to use an example product. And I'm going to use a product of electronic healthcare record software, EHR software. I think this is a good product to use for this example because just about all of us have gone to the doctor. And some doctors you've gone to, your records are all on paper. And maybe you've been to a doctor where they come in with a computer or a handheld device. And so if you can picture those two different scenarios, if we can replace that paper with the software, we can create a lot of improvements. So you can create a great script to sell this software to doctors' offices that are using paper. But guess what? Even though you have that great script, if you call a doctor's office, already have EHR software, all of those pain points and benefits go out the window because they're already using some software. But we still want to replace that software. What we need to do is we need to focus on the differentiation. And then we use the differentiation to again think about, okay, who are we cold calling? And then we go through the same process to think about when the target audience that we're cold calling has access to our product that's different, what improvements does our differentiation make for that target audience? What pain points and problems can the differentiation make go away? What questions can we ask? And we could maybe come up with a different customer example, not a customer example where we replaced paper, but a customer example where we replaced a competitor's product and created all of these great improvements. So we come up with a second customer example. In some ways, a second sales script that we can use in parallel. One for replacing paper or a customer that's not using anything, and then a second sales script that we shift to when the customer already has something today. Now, when you go through our process to brainstorm all of those different points, each of those steps is going to help you to create what we would refer to as a building block. And then you can use all of those building blocks to create your cold call script. Now, I'm going to show you how to bounce between those two cold call scripts when you're on the cold call and you're talking to prospects. But before I do that, I want to actually show you what creating that looks like. If I go back to our sales script brainstorming process, I'm at the value step, and our goal here is to think of a few improvements. So what we want to do now is bring in the differentiation, and we go through the same process to think about how can we help the long-term healthcare providers to make something work better, make something easier, decrease time, and instead of using the features of the product, we're going to use the differentiation. And so we look at each differentiation point and we come up with a new set of improvements. And these improvements are based solely on the differentiation. So here we have a totally different set of improvements. And these are improvements that we can deliver when we replace the competition. So if they're using an old version of software, a not so great version of software, we can make these things work better. And these are different things to talk about from the improvements that we can make when we get rid of paper. Then we move to that next step of the process to reverse engineer to create pain points. And so what we're looking for here is a few challenges or concerns that we can make go away for those long-term healthcare providers. And what we can do is we can bring in those benefits that are from the differentiation. And if we look at these, we can reverse engineer these to say, what is the problem that these benefits make go away? And we come up with a new set of pain points to talk about. And these pain points are different from the pain points of making paper go away. These are the pain points that a prospect might experience if they're using a not so great software package that we want to replace. And then we move on to the next step, which is to brainstorm questions to ask. And our goal here is to think of a few pain questions to ask. And now we bring in the pain points that we can make go away for long-term healthcare providers that are using a not so great software platform. And we can use each pain point to think of a pain question to ask. And then we end up with a set of pain questions that are different from the pain questions that we would ask for a healthcare provider that's using paper. And what we just accomplished by going through that process for a second time is it created a second set of building blocks. And what those building blocks allowed us to do was to create a second script, a competitive replacement script. So now I want to show you how to bounce between these scripts during a cold call. And before I do that, I actually want to make one modification to the cold call script that you're starting out with before you jump to the competitive replacement script. And that is that in most cases, I like to start out with pain questions during a cold call. But if you're calling in a pretty competitive marketplace, meaning you sell something that's more of a commodity, or you're selling something that just about most of your prospects have already purchased, I want to make one change in this area. Instead of starting out with your pain questions, I like to swap these two blocks and start out with your current state questions. Your current state questions are typically questions that find out what the prospect is using today. So if you sold cars, your current state questions would be, do you have a car today? What are you driving? What year is it? How many miles does it have? Do you own it? Do you lease it? So if there's an extremely good chance that the prospect that you're calling has already purchased something similar to what you sell or has your competitor's product, find out right at the beginning what they have, what they're using, so you know what direction to take the cold call. So now let me show you how to bounce between these scripts. And so starting with the standard cold call script, I like to open with the value proposition. Then we go to the current state questions, and you can see here that right away I'm going to try to identify, do they have my competitor's product or what are they using today? So then you jump right to asking, hey, if I could ask you real quick, are you guys using any type of EHR software? So at this point, if they're not, then we stay and continue to move forward with our standard cold call script. But at this point, if they say, yeah, we're using product X, then what we do is we then jump over to our competitive replacement cold call script. And we can actually go back to the value proposition, because remember, the value proposition is different when we're replacing a competitor's product, because the value proposition is derived from the differentiation. Okay, well, that's why I'm reaching out, because we actually help long-term healthcare providers that are already using product X to decrease their headaches and issues, decrease the time they spend working inside the software, improve coordination with facilities, decrease lost revenue and expenses. But I'm not sure if you guys are having those issues or not, and that's why I had a question or two. So as you can see, at this point, we're starting to educate the prospect on the improvements we can make by replacing their current system, which is different than just saying, oh, but we're different. From there, we can jump to pain questions, because what we want to find out is how happy are they with the current system that we want to replace? Are they having challenges? And these are the pain points that are derived from our differentiation. These should be optimum questions to ask. You could then continue to ask any current state questions that you haven't already asked. You might want to go on, talk about pain points that you can make go away. These are different pain points than the standard cold call script. These pain points are focused on the areas that were different. Hopefully through all of that, you've identified areas that they're not happy with the existing product. At this point is when you can start to go for the close. But before you go for the close, start to introduce your product and educate the prospect on what you sell. And when you introduce your product, at this point is when you can start to get into details of how you're different. And then right before you go for the close of talking more, this is where you could share a customer example. Now keep in mind, this could be a different customer example from your standard cold call script. Should be a customer example of a customer that you replaced the product that you're talking about, and then you go for the close of setting an appointment or scheduling a meeting. So as you can see, a little bit more work there to actually create almost a second cold call script, but you're going to face situations where the prospect is already using someone today. So since this is so frequent, spending the time to create that parallel path and to be prepared and have extreme clarity for what to do on those calls will greatly improve your ability to keep those calls going, and on many of those calls to schedule appointments and generate leads. All right, so hopefully you found that to be helpful. If you did and you want to return the favor, very easy for you to do. All you have to do is like, comment, share this video, subscribe to our channel. Any of those help us and none of those cost you anything. If you like these tips, you may want to follow us on any or all of these social platforms. If you like what I've shared with you here today and you want more, everything I've talked about here today is part of the SMART sales system. The SMART sales system stands for sales messaging and response tactics. The actual process that I went through for building those sales scripts, that's actually our sales messaging brainstorming process, which is the foundation of the SMART sales system. And we actually call it a system because it's a 3-level system that you can actually implement and almost download into your brain. Level 1 is creating that sales message. And like I said, that's the process I went through here, where we start with the product, and brainstorm the benefits, the pain points, the pain questions. And once you go through that process, that gives you the building blocks. Level 2 is putting those building blocks together to create your cold call scripts, and that's what we did in this video. Once you have your cold call script, then it's kind of about how to use your cold call script, and so that's discussed in level 3. Now the great news is that if you want to implement and learn the SMART sales system, you can do that for free because it's all on YouTube. All you have to do is go to our channel, go to the playlist, the SMART sales system, Sell Smarter, Not Harder, and there is a video that will take you through every step of learning the SMART sales system. The reason why we give it away for free is because all of this does align with a product that we do sell called Sales Scripter, which is a software application. There's an area of Sales Scripter called the Sales Message Builder, which will take you through that process that I showed you in this video, making it easy for you to go through that brainstorming process and organize your thoughts. And once you have put your thoughts and brainstorming into the Sales Message Builder, the software also aligns with level 2 because it has an area called the Sales Playbook, which is basically a library of scripts and emails and templates that fill in with all of your answers to give you a whole library of custom tailored sales scripts that are tailored to your product, your industry, your prospect, and your situation. And certainly Sales Scripter aligns with level 3, providing full CRM and email automation functionality. And then the upgrade from there is I'm certainly available to provide consulting hours. I help clients with their sales message, brainstorming, help them to create their sales scripts and emails and cold call scripts. If that's interesting, but you still don't know what to do, you may want to check out my book, The SMART Sales System, Sell Smarter, Not Harder. You can get that on Amazon here. I'll put a link in the description. That's pretty much it. Hope this was helpful. unfold. If you want more information, the best place to go is salesscripter.com. If you want more tips, there are plenty of videos and there are ebooks you can download for free. If you have questions or want to learn more about the product of SalesScripter, there are plenty of demo videos that explain to you how it works. If you want to contact us, that's the best place to go. You can get our phone number, email address, there's a chat window. Thanks again for being here. We'll see you on the next video. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.